Hello and welcome back to the Studio Block server. My name is Weird and Bearded and you just witnessed a 12-hour crafting session. I know I can make my crafting sessions a lot shorter. I'm planning on doing that in the future, but I kind of like the way I do them at the moment. But we'll see. That's for the future. This is for the now. We have 86 shulker boxes of stuff of a really weird selection of blocks, all ready to go for the build, at least the first part of the build. So we are at the desert. This is of course for the buried treasure build, and that is everything I need for my chest. So before we start, I want to talk about my building process, because I am a technical Minecrafter. I imagine my technical process is probably a bit different. Not my technical process, my building process. I imagine my building process is a bit different to other Minecraft builders. So let's talk about that. Let's talk treasure chest design. And we're going to start off doing what I think most people would do. And you often see people talking about starting off just building in dirt. Let's get the basic shape in. And I'm a mathematician, I like geometry, so for a chest, I think I would start with a nice, simple dirt box. Just a little outline of a dirt box. Just getting the basic idea of a chest in, but of course, when you think of a treasure chest, you want a nice, rounded lid. So then maybe, to that box, you add a cylinder along the top, and this is already looking remarkably treasure chest-like. So let's go a step further, let's fill everything in with dirt, and we now have our basic shape. So then, of course, you're going to want to look at blocks. What's your block palette going to be? But I think for a treasure chest, nice and simple, you've got some spruce wood for the outlines, then you've got some spruce planks, and finally some oak planks just for a little bit of added detail. So then you go along and you fill that in, and this is looking annoyingly good for something I threw together in 5 minutes. And then you go one step further and you add in the final details, and you maybe put a little lock on the front. You put a band around the edge, which is where it's going to open. You've got some hinges on the back, and you have yourself a treasure chest. And not a bad looking treasure chest. I'm quite happy with this. I'm regretting not going with this idea. However, I haven't gone with this idea because, again, I am a very technical Minecrafter. I do things a little differently, and you may still do things differently. Not being technical, you might go for some research material. So look up pictures of treasure chests and get you a more realistic feel. For example, I'm going to give myself more of a clean background here. This is my treasure chest. This is a little treasure chest I have at home. And what do I keep inside? Well, if we open one side then the other side and we open up the little clasp in the middle, this of course is where I store my dice. Because I am a nerd. If you were not aware already that I'm a nerd, you really should watch more of my videos. I think it comes across. So I have my chest for reference. The next thing you need is a moose. That's not a moose. That's a donkey. That's Devara's donkey.
It's my donkey.
It's also not the type of moose I meant. This is the type of moose I meant. This is the 3D Maker Pro moose. It is a 3D scanner. I have a 3D scanner. Again, I'm a nerd. I like having all the tech stuff. So yes, I have a 3D scanner, and I took a 3D scan of my chest. And now, for a dramatic reenactment of that 3D scan. So you'll notice that I'm actually using 3 different displays here. So on the left hand side, I'm going to try to do this while talking. On the left hand side, I've just got a scale of how close I am to what I'm scanning. So at the moment it's excellent, but if I go too close, it will let me know I'm too close. If I go too far away, it will let me know I'm too far away. So there's a lot of small movements, which is really hard to do while you're talking. So you can see it's actually doing pretty well. Let's try and get a bit more across. On the right hand side, I've got the view of what the camera itself is seeing. And then, of course, in the middle, I can see what we scanned. So what I would do is do one scan across and then stop it. I'm going to delete this data. I don't need this data. But what you can do is then combine all of those scans together. And if things aren't quite aligning properly, it's fairly easy to align them manually. And if that's not working, it just means you need more scans. So after 19 separate scans and some post-processing, which is again all automatic, we've ended up with this, which I am really happy with. Now you might notice that there isn't an actual strap, but there's still the image of the strap. That's because I didn't want a strap, so I just deleted what was at the top. It didn't know what to do with the image data, and I don't really mind that. I don't have an issue with that. So then I took this, I took the texture file for this into paint.net to brighten it up, and then I took it into Blender. But before we go into Blender, there's somewhere else I went first. This here is Mineways. I like Mineways. Mineways is very useful for very specific things, and I like stuff like that. What Mineways does, you can load in a Minecraft world, so this is my copy of our server world, because we've got the seed, so we can load up our own single player version, and you can select an area, and then you can export that as an OBJ file, which means we're going to have a 3D model of the chest and a 3D model of the landscape. So then there's only one more thing that needs to be done. And I say needs to be done. It's already been done. I got this done a few weeks ago now. But you haven't seen that bit yet. So, you know, we're going through the creative process. Let me work. And now I combine them in Blender. So underneath you can see we've got the texture of our map, which looks absolutely fine. And then I've got the chest. So then I can just sort of position the chest however I want. I want to sort of put it down a bit maybe. We can have a little bit of rotation around that axis. I can scale it up and down. Doesn't really matter. It's not as bright as we've made it. As I said, I did brighten up the texture. That doesn't matter either, because that's going to happen at a later stage, because then I've got Block Blender. And through Block Blender, I can turn this into Minecraft blocks and save it as a schematic. But I'm not going to show you what that looks like, because I actually need to build it in the game, so you're going to be seeing that next week. Because I have started, I said I would start placing blocks this week. I have started getting this going. But I've not made enough progress for it to be seen in this episode, so we're going to win this in Blender, not in Minecraft, which already feels weird. But if you liked the episode, please leave a like. I really hope you enjoyed seeing my version of the creative process. Subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Weird and Bearded, and I will see you all next time.